All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. A few things happened. NASCAR released a bunch of rules that I'm just not gonna lie to you. They didn't really excite me, so I didn't make a video about it. Maybe I should later. But see, one of them, they can put like LEDs over the wall now. Like instead of the big banners that they had over the walls, it can be like an LED light screen that they can change colors, change sponsors, and change whatever. Oh, I got the Busch and the end cores. We're contrasting a little bit there, so it's a little weird, a little awkward. So we'll go Kyle Larson there. So, yeah, so that was like one thing, and then what was another one? They got in the Xfinity series and the truck series, they made the the fuel cell or the fuel over the wall fuel thing lighter, so that smaller people or whatever would have an easier time carrying it. I guess so you wouldn't have to. Apparently, really tall people cost more money to employ. So I guess that was another thing. Like I said, none of these changes. I don't know. None of the changes. I just didn't care. Like I can't lie to you. And but I guess some people did. So there you go. Those were the changes. Kaz Grala is going to run the 36 car. That'll be the third car for Front Row Motorsports. We, of course, know what they can do over there. So everybody's pretty fired up and excited about that. So wishing him luck over there. And then they ran. I know this is what everybody wants to hear about, and I'm really not going to talk about it today because we talked about hybrids last episode, if I can help it. I mean, if it's really what you want to talk about. But they ran the electric car, which is an SUV. They ran the electric SUV. David Reagan drove it, and they tested it, so they did that. And once again, I'd like to reiterate, that is a whole separate series. It's not going to take over the Cup car or anything like that. But they did test the old electric car. So, all right, I will jump into the chat, which I'm far behind in, and see what you guys want to talk about. Rest in peace, Carla Wallace, wife and sister-in-law of Rusty and Kenny. So, yeah, Mike Wallace's sister, unfortunately, Mike Wallace's wife, unfortunately, passed away. Sister-in-law to Rusty and Kenny, unfortunate. And Bumblebee, of course, posted that. So I want to let everybody know that she had a little bit of a health scare, but they figured out what it was. She had a 90%, I think, clogged artery. They put a stent in, and she is well on her road to recovery. So we're happy that B is feeling much better. So I wanted to give everyone an update on that and let everybody know what happened. Let's see. Poll question suggestion. Oh, yeah, by the way, we got a poll question. I will read yours in just a minute, Mr. Schweitzer. 43% saying the Mustang Dark Horse. What is the best Ford Cup car that Ford's ever had in NASCAR? Mustang Dark Horse, the Fusion, the Taurus, and the T-Bird. 39% for the T-Bird, 11% for the Taurus, and the Ford Fusion is at 7%. Mustang Dark Horse right now at 43%. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm surprised by that. I thought the Thunderbird would run away with this thing. But get your votes in. We'll leave that up for a little bit, and then we'll try out Mr. Schweitzer's here. Poll question suggestion. Which team will have the driver that wins the pole at Daytona? HMS, Penske, JGR, or other? I like that poll question, so I've got nothing to write with. Well prepared as always. There we go. Pole Daytona. All right, so hopefully I'll remember that. We'll leave this poll question up for a little while, though, and see what you guys think. Then we'll go to that next one. Chrome Diesel, what's up, my friend? Dennis Gillespie, thanks, BB. Love your show. It makes me feel at home. I've been having some beers. It's racing time. It is racing time, my friend. Glad to have you on here, as always. He also goes on to say, I've been playing my guitar to pass the time. Go Kyle Larson, balls to the wall, and I like Carson Hocevar. I know I didn't spell his name right. We call him Josephus over here. Old Josephus. He's doing the most for the fans right now, I think, in my opinion. So I like him. He's got a good swag to him, and hopefully he continues to do good things over there at Spire. Hey there. So I chose the Taurus on the poll only because I own 5 of them, says Bruce Reed. So yeah, the Taurus was for the long time until it was replaced by the I think the Honda Accord, and then the Accord, of course, got surpassed by the Camry. But for a long time, the Ford Taurus was the number 1 selling car in America. Not a lot of people remember those days, or even that was a fact. Bruce, if something works, stick with it, says Dennis. And Bruce says, absolutely. I'm a Chevy man, but that Thunderbird, I mean, the Thunder Chicken was BA, says Dennis Gillespie. Yeah, the Thunderbird was a good looking car, especially, I would say 80. What was the turbo coupe? Like 88 until 92. Those two generations, or 2 or 3 or 4 generations of not Mustang. They were on the Fox body. That's why I said Mustang. Of the Thunderbird were super awesome. Dale Jr.'s sister is Kelly's son. Is up and coming. Woohoo, says Dennis. Yeah, so I've seen he actually won a race not too long ago. So he's rolling. Yeah, Banjo Matthews and Leo Jackson ended up having a few beers. I think a couple of others. I'm talking about car chases. Oh yeah, right down the road from where I grew up was Mike McLaughlin. So there you go, Mike McLaughlin reference. He doesn't get referenced often enough, but he was a heck of a driver for sure. I'm originally from Greenville Pickens area. I know a lot of race car people. I need Louis Smith and Larry. I knew Louis Smith and Larry Frank personally. I love Lonnie Berger. Berger, because I feel at home, says Dennis. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the kind words. I actually have a Louis Smith video somewhere floating around if you want to check that one out. Let's see. It's a Baloney Burger Tuesday, says In Between the Lanes. That's right. We're back on Tuesdays. Hello all. T-Bird all the way. We had that one Wednesday episode is what I meant by that. Most Tuesdays we're on here. T-Bird all the way, says Sha. Guys, I'm here barely. I had a stent put in this afternoon, had a major blockage. And Mark Barnum saying, stay strong to EB. I was about as close to having a heart attack as you can be. Still in ICU. Hope to go home Thursday afternoon. And we're hoping you get home Thursday afternoon as well. Hope everything goes well with that deal. And she's a trooper, man. Tweeting from the hospital. Or not tweeting, but wow. But moderating from the hospital on her phone. So absolute champ there, B. And we got your back. And Mark Barnum says, yikes, EV, I'm not impressed with the updated qualifying procedures. Says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, so that one, I don't know if I can even explain that one, but basically the long and short of it is if you qualify wherever you qualify, if you qualify and they line it up 1-2, if you qualify on an even number, you qualify with these even numbers. If you qualify on an odd number, you qualify with all the odd numbers in the knockout qualifying or whatever. I don't know. I don't know a great way to explain it, so I have to think about that one. But it's something like that, and people are up in arms about it. But once again, I won't sit here and lie to you. It didn't ruin my day, and I don't really care. It didn't bother me one way or other. So I don't really care about it. But I'll have to look into it more. I'll see some other people's reactions, but none of the news, even though NASCAR dropped a lot of procedural news today, none of it really excited me or made me care one way or the other, to be honest with you. Wayne Auten retiring was probably the bigger story to me because Buster Auten used to drive the pace car, but Wayne Auten retiring as head honcho basically of the Xfinity Series. That's a big deal. It's going to be interesting to see who they replace him with because I feel like he did a good job over there. It was fun until NASCAR took the T-Bird away, says Brian W. Old Beach Boys song, fun. Good reference there. I appreciate that, man. I don't think the video boards are going to work for Sonoma or Indy. That's probably a good point. You probably won't get that much screen time with them, and also just they might not be the best fit for there. And I was watching Breakhards, so Breakhards got a really good channel. If you guys haven't checked him out yet, he was also talking about at Indianapolis they have a certain traditional way of doing things, and it might sort of take away from the tradition if they do it at Indianapolis. So maybe don't do it at Indianapolis either. He brought up a very good point that I wasn't even aware of as far as that goes. So shout out to Breakhard there. Hey, y'all, prayers up to EB for sure. CL Keller, hi, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? And what's up, Idaho? So A group even and B group is odd. 11 to 40, says one wise guy. Yeah, it's really weird. I need to write it down and have it in front of me before I jump into it. I did see where like I said, I just don't understand it. So maybe that's why it doesn't bother me. But I need to look at it really hard and figure out exactly what they're talking about doing over there on that situation. Removing the grass would assume drivers won't be hurt less, but solid surface can make harder impacts. Hypocrisy on full display, says Chrome Diesel. It's just two sides of a coin. A lot of people think more concrete or more asphalt or whatever is going to end up being better. But then again, if the car does get up, you're coming down, instead of landing on grass, you're going to land on asphalt. So there's always multiple ways to look at the situation. It just depends on which wrecking situation you're talking about as to whether or not it's safer. And that's what I say in life. There's never better. There's only better for a situation, right? So if you're up in the air, it's not a good situation. If you're not up in the air, I don't know. So maybe it is. Maybe it launches you up in the air. It's all kinds of variables, I guess you could say, you can look at as far as that goes. Shaw saying, Bumblebee, get well and stay strong. That's an order. So Shaw ordering you to get better and stay strong. Let's see. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Keeping BB in my prayers, talking about Bumblebee in her prayers. So hopefully she is going to do good, and we appreciate you keeping her in her prayers. Like I said, B, we all got your back. Daytona paved where Priest crashed, but stopped at the bus stop. Yeah, so once again, they didn't even pave the whole thing. So it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. One's not necessarily better than the other, but one from time to time, one gets gets a bigger push than the other. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, you're racing cars really fast, and it's only going to be but so safe. Joshua Jenkins, good to see you on here. Let's see. Xfinity cars have a slot like the Cup cars do. Yeah, in the back windows now. The Xfinity cars now have, I guess, an air release. It just lets the air out of the car, I guess. Let's see. Do you see Harrison Burton said? What Harrison Burton said? Do or die or expire this season. Yeah, I got you. One wise guy. Yeah. So for sure, Harrison Burton's another one that has come out, and I'm surprised at how open these guys are being about it. But he's come out and said this is basically a go or go home year for him as well. 100%. I don't know. The Dark Horse does not seem that special to me. Says Shy. Yeah, I meant to just put like a regular Mustang, but for whatever reason, my brain just went to Mustang Dark Horse because that's what it's called this year. But I meant to just put Mustang up there. So really, any Mustang, if you like the Cobra, the Shelby Cobra, or whatever, you can vote for that one too, unless you've already voted. But yeah, 47 votes in so far. 43% Mustang, 40% T-Bird, 6% Taurus, and 9% Ford Fusion. And every time I see Mustang Dark Horse, I fight the urge to say Mustang Dark Horse. I just don't know why. Like nothing against. I think the car looks really good, but it just looks like Dark Horse when I'm reading it really fast. Let's see. I think HMS changes things and focuses on the race instead of the pole. I'm calling for the 8 or the 3. JGR will be fast too. Yeah, Toyota is kind of who I've got my eye on, but to that point, JGR seems to have not cared about the pole as much, especially Denny Hamlin in particular, who is their best, as far as JGR goes, best plate racer. JGR doesn't seem to care about the pole as much as Hendrick has historically. But yeah, I think RCR is a fair bet always because RCR cares about everything at Daytona. They want to win everything at Daytona. I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating chips, says Shaw. I missed something there. What? Let's see. I guess talking about the Mustang Dark Horse. I don't know. Mark Martin's Valvoline T-Birds always look good, especially the 96 and 97, says B. I agree with you 100%, and there might be a video that references one of those cars you mentioned there, B, coming up soon. Bumblebee, get well and best on your recovery, says Brickyard Brickhead. And Shaw is agreeing, Bumblebee. So there is a link to the Discord up here if you want to scroll to where one wise guy dropped it, and also a link to the merch store. Appreciate you there, one wise guy. And I know I'm a little bit behind on the chat, but I'm trying to catch up here. Say Kyle, Group A will fill the outside lane, a believer group, and Group B, the inside lane. I like the duels basically. Might have the lanes flipped, but the same concept. So that's, yeah, so I guess that's the thing that's getting everybody sort of up in arms about, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's just a different way of going about it. So it is what it is. I've stopped. Here's why I don't care about it. I'll just lay it out here. And it's going to sound like negative Nancy, but I'm just keeping it real. I haven't cared about qualifying since we went to charters. So I know what's the point of qualifying? I know everybody's going to make it in because they have the charters. The only time qualifying is even interesting is at Daytona because at least some people do get knocked out there. But now that you have charters and everybody's basically guaranteed to start the race, qualifying is more or less irrelevant. They could go pick numbers out of a hat, and it would be just as entertaining, in my opinion. But that's just that's just my thoughts on it. And I know not everybody feels that way, but that's I just I'm in a mood to keep it 100 today, and I just kept it 100 right there. Let's see, Mercury Cyclone for best Ford NASCAR Cup car. Says Delmar Kaufman. That is probably pretty accurate, but that's a little bit before my time, so I don't really remember that one. I know David Pearson drove it. I made it famous for the Wood brothers, but a little bit before my time. And just like Dodge is synonymous with Petty, and Ford is synonymous with the Wood brothers. A lot of Wood brothers wins came in Mercuries, and just about all of the Petty wins came in a Plymouth. So there's your fun fact for the day. Prayers to B. Take care, says T-Van. Sam Hunt Racing should put Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 24 car. Earnhardt in the 24 car, mind blown. Says like dislike. That would be awesome. And just imagine the marketing and all the press you could get with that. That would be so cool. I like Break Hard too. Says one wise guy. Yeah, he does a great job for sure. I watch Break Hard as well as Baloney Burger. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, he's doing a good job with what he's got going on over there. And I like his hair. He's got some good hair going on. So I appreciate it. He had a really cool T-shirt on today that I'd seen before. I didn't know where they came from. I guess he's the one that's been making the shirts, but it says something about support your local short track, I think is what it said. Really great T-shirt. So he's got a good T-shirt game going on too. And it said like Break Hard right here at the bottom. I was always wondering who made those. So apparently that's who makes them. So that might be a purchase in the future. Lap the like button, thumbs up, says Robert Marks. Yeah, if you want to gently hit the like button, that would be much appreciated. If you want to slam it, that's good too. Thank you, T-Van. Sell the sign, says like dislike. So yeah, there is a video on for the members or the members. I made a sign, or I was making a video for somebody today, and they needed a prop. So, and they're like, we need a logo. So I had a logo. So I basically got a free sign. I made a video out of it. So I dropped it for the members because I didn't want to drop it as a regular video because I didn't want 10,000 comments. Oh, this is what we're doing now. You're not doing NASCAR content anymore. Because whenever I venture out away from it, I get a lot of those, and I don't want to confuse people. So there is a video, and that's what's being referenced there. And I will, I'll look at putting the sign in the shop. So if people want to buy the sign, they can buy the sign. I'm going to sleep pretty soon. I'll be listening in, says B. We appreciate you, B, and you rest up. Don't worry about us. We'll behave today for the most part. Daytona is going to, as much as we ever behave. Daytona is going to look like Walmart parking lot, says Chrome Diesel. It might. There's always a chance. Do you think the new NASCAR headquarters could be? Oh, you're talking about being paved. I got you. I'm following you now. Do you think the new NASCAR headquarters could be used like the NFL goes to New York for the cause? Oh yeah, so that was the other thing. Good point, wise guy. So NASCAR has a command center that's overseeing. So there's basically just more oversight now too. So yeah, I don't know. I guess some calls could come from Charlotte because basically that's where the headquarters is set up now. So I could see where that's a thing. They probably will. They like to emulate the NFL, so I imagine they will emulate the NFL for sure. Let's see. Cover the infield in bubble wrap as well as the drivers and the cars. May as well wrap up the fans too, says Shy. I watch Break Hard too. I like it just like BB, says Joshua Jenkins. Yeah, he's pretty good. Did the BB flannel idea catch on, says one wise guy. I haven't brought it up yet because I'm trying to get the still working on the sweatshirts. So once we get the sweatshirts out, I'll work on the other stuff for sure. But yeah, same company made the sign too. So if you need signs, the same company that does my merch does signs, wraps, all kinds of stuff. So check them out if you need any of that stuff. I saw the Tony Stewart speech. I finally got what I wanted. Acknowledgement that they are bottom of the barrel and got to get it moving up the ladder. There were several things in that Tony Stewart speech that I found interesting. He basically alluded to some drivers not wanting to work with each other in the past and some crew chiefs in the past not wanting to work with each other. I found that more interesting than him saying, hey, we're at the bottom of the barrel because, I mean, we've got eyeballs and we can look at the statistics. We knew that. But I was surprised that some of the crew chiefs and some of the drivers, they probably didn't hate each other, but they didn't work well. They didn't work together. I found that to be the most interesting tidbit from there. So maybe I need to make a video about that. You would think somebody that makes YouTube videos about NASCAR probably would have made a video about that, but his brain wasn't working today apparently. This is getting old. This stuff stinks. I've been laid up for about 2 weeks. My back blew out again. I bought a new Jeep and can't get in it. LOL, says T-Van. I feel you, man. I feel you. So, some days you just can't sleep the right way, or you wake up injured. Let's see. I saw an image of the Xfinity Series Mustang, which is also a dark horse as well. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, the old dark horse stickers are not looking as good on the Xfinity Series cars. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, it is what it is. Ford announced the Mustang will always be a V8 gas option. Yes, that was pretty cool. They basically that was basically a corporate way of waving the middle finger at General Motors and Dodge. So good on Ford as far as that goes. They said as long as what was it? As long as the Earth doesn't spontaneously combust or whatever, it was. They said they worded it some crazy way, but basically they said the Mustang will always be a V8 unless the government regulates it out, which is probably what will eventually end up happening. Surprised me when Tony said the drivers were not working together. Says Shaw, yeah, same here. Same here, Shaw. That was the thing that really jumped out at me as well. Sponsors ain't going to be happy about the Xfinity team. They support brings out a backup car with a wrap on them. Oh yeah, so the Xfinity cars also. The backup cars can't be wrapped anymore. This is just NASCAR trying to find a creative way of making teams not bring a backup car. But you can't wrap it now, and it can't have it can't be a fully operational other than the drivetrain. Like it can only have certain pieces on it. Like it's really, in my opinion, that's probably the most controversial one. NASCAR has really overthought themselves as far as that goes. I think that's pretty dumb. Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona this weekend, I believe. Is it this weekend or is this the Roar before the 24? I have to look that one up. I'll have to look that one up. I'm not. I got my dates. I don't have that date off the top of my head, but if it is this weekend, I'm stoked, man. I'm ready for it. I assume he meant teams in general were not working together. Says Shaw. Maybe, but I'll have to go and look at how he said it. He really made it sound like his teams weren't working with each other within the building. Because he said inside the building, the vibe feels as good or better than it's ever felt as far as that goes. So I think he was actually talking about like the actual teams themselves. So maybe they finally figured out, hey, we need to all be on the same page because that's how Hendrick and RCR and Penske and all them, they're all on the same page now. And that's why in RCR's case have shown marked improvement, and Hendrick and Joe Gibbs Racing have continued to be really good. Penske as well. So let's see. Corey LaJoy is going to. Corey LaJoy is going to Chili's after the conclusion of the Daytona 500. So yeah, Corey LaJoy has the Chili's sponsorship for the Daytona 500, and hopefully more can come from that. Chili's is pretty good for a chain restaurant in my opinion. And when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, Chili's, a celebration of food. And then I looked back and I was like, that was not Chili's, that was Chi-Chi's. A celebration of food. And if you, I'm not going to get into what I was going to say, but Chi-Chi's probably not a great name for a restaurant. If you look up the direct translation, and I'm going to leave it at that. Did they say anything about practice returning pre-19? See, that's a good question. I don't know. I think practice will probably look about like it looked last year. Some tracks will have it, some tracks won't, and it'll only be limited practice at best. I'm pretty sure that they're going to stick with that. They changed because teams were annoyed because one group could be drastically faster than the other group. So sixth place guy in a bad group would qualify like 23rd or something crazy. Says say Kyle. So maybe. Yeah, I did see the rationale behind it, but like I said, I need to really sit down and look at it before I give my opinion on it. Because and like I said, I don't care, to be honest. So. I'll sit down and look at it and see what the actual nuts and bolts and logistics of it are, because I haven't seen it in writing yet. I've just seen people talk about it, which is not always the best way to get your information. But yeah, I need to see what's actually written down. I haven't seen it, how the actual rule reads, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You might as well do what they are doing for the Clash. Fastest lap in practice is your qualifying time. I'm okay with that, actually, Cody, because now that you've got charters, there's nothing to lose. That might as well just be qualifying. Give all the teams a happy hour for practice and qualifying, and it's done. So yeah, I'm good with that 100%. Ross Chastain could pull a Ben Rhodes press conference if he wins a championship, which I can see happening. Says in between the lanes. So yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you that's Bushes and Baconators, man. That's gonna be a slogan you hear a lot this season coming up. Let's see. Call me crazy, but this year is not getting, and possibly a T-shirt. Hint, hint. Call me crazy, but this year is not getting me fired up like the past. Things seem all jacked up. The off season definitely seemed shorter because there was so much news in between it, and I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason I don't care about the rule changes, because I'm like, oh, this is how we're doing it this year. It seems like year to year, there's always some crazy weird thing they change. I miss qualifying in practice. I used to watch it religiously. I guess you can't get excited about rules changes when the rules change every single year. So like, yeah, I guess it's not a big deal because I'm like, oh, they'll change again next year. Let's see. It's not like the 90s where like in the 90s, it was like, it's pretty much the same every single year. But this is not just on NASCAR. This is sports in general right now. It's like people can't stop tweaking it. Now we got to do. It's like if you've ever worked on a racing team, there's always that one driver you work with. Sometimes like, oh, it just needs a little bit more, and while he's trying to get that little bit more, he takes it completely out of the race. Sometimes, sometimes you work with a guy like that. And then there's sometimes you work with guys that give you no feedback and they're like, yeah, it's fine. And then they go out there and they run terrible. And so you got to find a happy medium in there. You got to tweak it sometimes, but you can't tweak it every single year. Or you're going to tweak yourself right out of having a good sport, which a lot of people already think they've done. Would you care more about qualifying if a bonus point was given for the pole win? I would actually. Let's see. But I also don't know if that's a great thing, so I don't know. I know F1 does it, so I don't know. Mark, just become a Byron fan, and you'll be stoked for the season to start. Says Say Kyle, no way I'll root for a Chevy. Say Kyle, says Mark Barnum. Is that a Coors shirt you got on? That is a Coors. That is the old Golden Mountains there. Let's see, or Golden Colorado Rocky Mountains. No way. Let's see. Let's look at an instant replay of Ryan in the All-Star race, the caution and the window net debacle. Maybe someone will be there to look at the stupid stuff on replay, says Vigilant Guardian. Hey, there you go. That's fair. First off, NASCAR shouldn't have thrown the caution when they threw it, so maybe that would be the first thing that they would look at, so Ryan would still remain the champion. But, yeah, he definitely drove a lap with the holding the window net, and that was not safe. I miss the old ESPN covering the races and practice. I do too. I miss the Speed Channel more than anything, but old ESPN was good too. Dr. Jerry Punch and the gang. Apparently, John Hunter Nemechek, Corey Heim, Bubba Wallace are running a Toyota Supra before the Rolex 24, but we do not know of any NASCAR drivers that are in the Rolex 24 this year at Daytona. Says in between lanes. Yes, so far, unless it's going to be a surprise last minute, I haven't heard anybody running in the actual Rolex 24. But like you said, Toyota does have the young guns out there. And I think that's a good move for Bubba, Corey, and John Hunter Nemechek. Get some extra seat time on road courses, because none of those guys I look at and be like, yeah, absolute road course ace. So I'm glad that they're all getting some seat time there. That's a good smart move. Let's see. I think more drivers should do it as well. Going to a close call review seems like more commercials are coming, says Brickyard Brickhead. Oh, that's a fact. The whole time they're reviewing the close call deal, you know you're going to be in commercial. NASCAR just NASCARing, says one wise guy. VP Racing GT3 class on Saturday had a photo finish. Mustang beat out the BMW, says Chrome Diesel. So there you go. I'll have to go look at the highlights as far as that goes. Bubba Wallace announced he'll have more presence on Twitter. Says one wise guy. Hey, it is what it is. Look, he's been laying low for like a really long time. So apparently he's got all the sponsor deals lined up. And he's going to go let it fly on Twitter. So, look, people want more personality. He's trying to give them more personality. So it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out. It's a fine line, man. Like, they want everybody to have more personality, but the country's never been more like divided than it's ever been. So like, if you have personality and they disagree with what you say, there's going to be one group that's like, oh, he needs to go away. I mean, y'all know the deal. We're all adults here. So it is what it is. It's always interesting. So I put in my order for a dark horse Mach 23 on March 23rd. I still don't have a production date. The NASCAR team must know some people, says Delmar Kaufman. So there you go. He's got his dark horse on order in real life. So there you go. That's pretty cool. Whenever they get it, though, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I like the Corvettes, Mustang Dark Horse and Lexus RC in IMSA. Yeah, the Corvettes are always good. It's sort of weird that it's not a factory-based Corvette entry anymore. So now instead of it being just all yellow, it's got like a little bit of black in it too. So that's going to take some getting used to. Any diecast you plan on getting this year? Not off the top of my head. The only one I'm really leaning toward is I do like that Ross Chastain Busch Light #1 car. But as far as just like one that I might do like a random scheme on, but the rest of them are going to have to be race winners that would have some type of meaning to me, because I've got too many as it stands. So whichever one comes in next, one of these has to go. So and parting with some of these, some of them, I guess I've got like a wiggle room of 5. Because there's like 5 or 6 that can go ahead and get out of here, because I bought them, and then buyer's remorse. I got them and I was like, I don't really like it as much as I did. So maybe I got like wiggle room for 5, but we'll have to see how it goes. Looks like it's going to be the Ravens versus the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Says like this, like I hope so. I think that would be a good Super Bowl, but I'm not sleeping on the Detroit Lions, and I'm never sleeping on the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm not super confident one way or the other. NFL championship predictions this weekend, BB. Well, I'm picking the 49ers and the Ravens. But like I said, I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are predicting. Would be nice to see track action from Thursday to Sunday. Great days to bring your fans in the stand, to bring out fans in the stands, says Brickyard. It definitely worked like that back in the day. I don't know that it would work like that now, but you never know. According to Jim Utter, he could count on his finger how many people are in the stands for practice. So I don't know. He's a prick anyway. So it is what it is. I'm predicting the Ravens to get to and win the Super Bowl this year, says Joshua Jenkins. Let's see. I can see that. Like, and here I was actually having this discussion with my friends the other day. No matter who wins the Super Bowl, it's actually going to be a really good story this year. So whoever wins, it's got a good storyline to it. Did you see Matty B's video today saying the sponsor deal was sour and that's why he backed out? Yeah, I saw that a few weeks ago. It is what it is. Matty D thought he had something and he didn't, and I'm gonna leave it at that. No NASCAR racers for the 24 hours of Daytona. IMSA says that they were told it was tough for NASCAR boys to be here this week and in LA the next week. Let's go back to the clash being at Daytona, says Bruce Carvey. Well, I mean, technically, the drivers are not required to run in LA. So if you value the Daytona 24 hours bigger than you value the clash, which me personally, I would, like if I had a chance to run in the 24 hours of Daytona, I'd run that over the Bud Light Clash, but that's just me personally. But that's going to be up to each individual driver. I miss Dave Despain and the Speed Channel, says T-Van. NASCAR and the world in general just need to go back to how things were done in the 90s, decade of perfection. New millennium marked the end of everything good, says Shaw. So yeah, dial-up internet and cell phones where the batteries never died and you had reception no matter where you went, except tunnels. And there were no cameras on it. Let's see. Speaking of laying, there was no social media. Speaking of laying low, where's Noah? Says one wise guy. He's ready for the season. He tweeted out 2 weeks until the Clash the other day. So he's ready. He's ready this weekend, I want to say. NASCAR close call presented by Duracell. There may be a close call here and there, but don't let your battery cause a close call there. Says Cody Ledger. So there you go. Cody already wrote the commercial for him. Rebel Bourbon and Kyle Busch. It's going to get rowdy. It's going to get rowdy here. It says in between the lanes. Yeah, Kyle Busch has some good sponsors too. There's no doubt about it. ESPN and the Speed Channel coverage for NASCAR was awesome. I agree, Joshua. Xfinity on the CW starts this season, says one wise guy. Yeah, so as long as you got an antenna, you'll be able to watch that one. So that one shouldn't be as big a concern. I don't know exactly how it works in Canada, in other countries, but in the United States, as long as you got an antenna, you'll be able to pick up the CW. TNN had some good NASCAR coverage, says Delmar Kaufman. I agree, TNN was good. Screw streaming, cable, and 8-tracks will never die, says Shah. Did you catch the WWE Netflix deal? That's big for NASCAR's future. Yeah, so Monday Night Raw is next season or next year is going to be on only on Netflix. So that could be a sign of things to come. We just don't know. We'll have to let the current TV deal run out before we worry about that one. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy different landscape by the time this TV contract runs out for NASCAR. But NASCAR financially is in a good spot, TV deal wise and all that stuff. So financially, they're good. They just need to figure out on the racetrack and getting more people to participate and watch and stuff like that. And I think the Netflix documentary, it looks like it's going to be pretty good too. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Algire's Jared Diecast already canceled. Says In Between the Lanes. Oh, there you go. They're not even going to run that one. That's a bummer. There isn't a paint scheme that I really like this year. I used to love paint schemes. They just don't do it like they used to. Says T Van. And yeah, and part of it is they're trying. Part of it, some of these designs are to trick the Hawkeye or the Eagle Eye or whatever it's called. And that's part of the reason some of the schemes aren't as good looking as they used to be. The other reason, of course, the numbers have been slid up, so a lot of people don't like that look, including myself. Just a lot of things factor into it. 16-time Earth 2 champion Cody Ware is back. Says like dislike. So yes, Earth 2, one of the Earth 2 champions is back for sure. That has been met with a lot of consternation and scrutiny. But once again, I'd like to reiterate: nobody, unless you were there, you don't know exactly what happened. So until like actual proof comes out, I'm just gonna reserve any judgment there until something actually comes out that's super incriminating. Ryan Blaney uses Great Stuff insulation, which you can find at Menards. Save big money when you buy Menards. In Between the Lanes, hitting all the ad reads there. Cody Ware needs to go behind the scenes like the Dillon brothers, says T Van. That's not, maybe you can go apples to apple as far as Ty Dillon goes. Austin Dillon, that's not apples to apples. Austin Dillon's an Xfinity Series champion. He's a Truck Series champion. He's a Daytona 500 champion. He's got I think he's got 3 or 4 wins in the Cup Series. So it's not necessarily apples to apples with Austin Dillon. But maybe you can make that argument for Ty Dillon. But to each their own. There's definitely a lot of people that want both Dillons behind the scenes. I will not argue with you as far as a lot of people wanting that to happen. I always wondered why a scheme had random black stripes. Yeah, that's 100% what they're doing. Wise guy for sure. HMS sucks. Says like dislike. So he's getting his HMS sucks in for the day. Regarding Cody Ware, people need to have faith in their justice system and stop being armchair judges, in my opinion, says Shy. Yeah, and that's why I brought up the Duke lacrosse deal. For nothing but like 2 or 3 or 4 months. Like, that's all you heard is the Duke lacrosse. They're bad people. They did this and that and the other thing. And then it ends up being that Crystal Mangum, and I'm from Durham, so I was super familiar with that case when it was going on. Ended up working at Duke shortly after doing IT. And it was not super surprising once I started working at Duke, seeing the people that work there, that they jumped to conclusions, because a lot of those people want to believe things like that because it's part of their worldview. But the fact that nobody had any real evidence at all, and they jumped to the conclusion there, it should always be a cautionary tale whenever something like this happens, to just let all the evidence come out, let it all play out before you make snap judgments. Let's not have any more trials by media, which nobody has heeded that cautionary tale in the modern mainstream media era that we're living in now. It's pretty much, in my opinion, gone the opposite way. It's more, when I look at mainstream media, I see more opinion-based stuff than fact-based stuff. And the worst part about it is there was a great debate in Canada, but they were talking about you can't even trust the facts anymore, because one media conglomerate will be lined up with the Republicans, and another media conglomerate will be lined up with the Democrats, and they pick and choose their facts. And so you can't even, it's hard to even trust the facts anymore from mainstream media on certain stories. So it's just really hard. It's a hard landscape to navigate right now. And then you've got the wackos on YouTube. You can't trust them either. So at least that's what the mainstream media tells you. So it's a mess. It's a disaster as far as media goes right now. But that gets a little bit sticky and political. But the point of that is, if you look at the Duke lacrosse case, you should give, and use it as a cautionary tale, you should give Cody Ware the benefit of the doubt until all the evidence comes out, or lack of evidence. Like, if no evidence ever comes out, at some point you got to admit, well, apparently nothing was done here. So you gotta just give him leeway and let the evidence come out. And apparently, according to the criminal justice system, there was no evidence, at least none, to have a trial or whatever. So we'll get off that topic because I don't want to get into politics or anything like that because that's not my deal. There's a million YouTube channels for politics, and I'm not going to be one of them. Good morning, BB, says Tony. What's up, Tony? Good to see you. Happy morning to you, wherever you're at. Cody made ARCA brakes. So that's probably the better issue that several people made in the comment section. Cody Ware hasn't shown any ability to run well in the Cup Series, and that's probably a good place to start. Aside from the controversy, he hasn't shown anything relative to other people that have been in the 15 car. So especially if you look at road courses, when Joey Hand was in that thing on the road course, before he had some mechanical failures and stuff like that, Joey Hand got a lap out of that car. And I mean, like they're now, don't get me wrong, I think getting a lap out of a Rick Ware car at that particular point in time, we don't know what the Penske or RFK alliance is going to render them going forward. It's still going to be like, an 18th to 22nd car when you're running it at its absolute best. But Cody Ware hasn't shown that, so maybe he needs to go back down to maybe an ARCA or an Xfinity and a truck series. And I think for Cody Ware, that would actually probably be more fun than just like start. Like I equate this: you start a video game on hard, and you've never played video games in your life. Like that's what Cody Ware has put himself up against. He's jumped into the deep end, and he doesn't have nearly as much experience as the guys he's racing against. So that's the way I look at it. Cody made ARCA brakes look like F1 brakes in the VP Sports Car Series this weekend. He locked the rears and spun in race 1 and kamikazed into the horseshoe and ran 4 people wide in race 2. So yeah, from the highlights, I didn't see it when it happened live or anything, but from the highlights, it just looked like he's a guy that has been out of a race car for an extended period of time, and he was trying to do too much. He was trying way too hard, and he was being way, way too aggressive there, and it bit him several times. So once he sits in a race car more often, he'll relax a little bit, and he'll just do what he knows he can do. And that's all you can do as a race car driver. Austin had his time in the sun, time to let Austin Hill have that seat. That could be something in play. I feel like they've got a plan for Austin Hill. They wouldn't have re-signed him otherwise. So there's some type of plan to get Austin Hill to Cup, whether it's buying a charter or whatever it is, whether they run him a few races over there at Colleague. I know some people don't have a lot of faith in that, but because I guess some people feel like they stole Austin Hill signing with Colleague. RCR stole him from Colleague or whatever. So I don't know about all that. I haven't seen anything official about where Chris is upset about it. So we'll have to see what happens. Even if he's on the track, he still causes chaos, like what happened last weekend on the Rover with the 24 at Daytona, says Chrome Diesel. So that's talking about Cody Ware again here. How's the projects coming along? When does your racing season start? Usually our racing season starts in March. So we've got a little bit of a layoff until all that gets going. But I'm making some progress on the other projects, though. So hopefully we'll be done with those pretty soon. BB, what's your favorite YouTube? Who's your favorite YouTube wacko? And shall always say, and judge not lest you be judged. Let me think about favorite YouTube wacko. I'll have to think about that for a while. I was a big Casey Neistat fan, but that's super common. Like he was like the biggest YouTuber or one of the biggest YouTubers for a long time. He's got a brother though, Van Neistat. Van Neistat has some really good videos. It's also super popular, but I guess I don't know if he's got as many followers or not as Casey Neistat. There's some other, I don't know. They're so random. The ones I watch are so random. So let me think of those are like 2 mainstream ones, I guess. But let me think of some. I have to think of some other ones. Schaefer Nickel is probably one not a lot of people I guess know about. Maybe they do. I don't know. Schaefer Nickel is a pretty good one. I watch a lot of like filmmaking stuff because I'm trying to get better at making YouTube videos, so I can do like a little bit different YouTube video from time to time. Like I'll always do this, and I'll always do the regular videos I do. But I do have some other videos I'd like to make, and I'm always working on that stuff too. So I watch a lot of those channels here recently. So I'm from North Carolina, and I've never met anyone who went to Duke. Says Delmar Kaufman. There's a ton of them in Durham, so I don't know. but Duke usually does have a lot of out-of-state students. That maybe they they graduate and they go their separate ways. Lots of opinions and very few facts. Agree with you, says Tony. So yeah, 100% calling it now. A Toyota Jones boy wins Daytona, says one wise guy. I hope so. That would be super cool to watch that 43 get another Daytona 500. That would be awesome. I'm rooting for that Jones boy this year, says T-Van. He's a big one. He's up there. I think he's going to have a really, obviously you've seen the preview. If you haven't, it's up. You can watch the way too early preview, but I'm big on Eric Jones this year. Did you see Christopher Bell's Ream and DeWalt schemes? I saw the DeWalt scheme. I haven't seen the Ream scheme. I did see the Rudenbush that Kaz Grala is going to run, and also that Todd Gilliland is going to run. So that Rudenbush scheme over there on the 38 and the 36, that's a mean looking scheme. That's a good looking Ford Dark Horse. Not to be confused with the Dork Horse. Did you see Christopher Bell's DeWalt schemes? Going to be interesting with Hamlin's Truex Jr. and Gibbs schemes. Oh, yeah, because they do swap them now, so that's going to be pretty cool. I like your thinking, one wise guy, that Jones boy in the 43 and Daytona, says Joshua Jenkins. I feel like Austin Dillon's out within 2 years, says one wise guy. A lot of people say he's going to retire, but he said, and it could just be him talking, but he said last year that he's going to be doing it for a long time. So he plans on driving for a long time. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out. And that was in the midst of his worst season ever. So, and I don't think he'll have another season like that this year. So, and I think Austin Cindric will be another guy that has a much better season than he had last year. Let's see. I feel like Austin Dillon will do like Grandpa and step aside for a better driver soon, says Shy. He could be. And he listens to his grandpa quite often. And that's the one thing about Austin Dillon. He's actually, as far as stuff like that goes, he's actually been very humble about it. He said, look, I wouldn't be where I'm at without my grandpa. He's always been very open about that. So I know for sure he takes his grandpa's advice and guidance very seriously. So if Richard ever said that, I think for sure Austin Dillon would step away. I don't see Richard saying that. But if that situation ever arose, I do think Austin Dillon would take it to heart and move on. But I don't see Austin Dillon moving on anytime soon. I think he's going to race for at least another 5 or 6 years minimum. That's what I see. That's how I see it going. But that's just my opinion. Everybody's got a different opinion on it. How would you do qualifying? First off, how would I do qualifying to make it interesting? I would get rid of the charters. Whoever is the fastest gets in. And whoever isn't goes home, and that's it. That's all you really need to make qualifying interesting. So that's how I do it. Line them up, you get 2 laps, park them, and then Daytona, you got the duels. The other way of doing it, since you do have charters now, is, and not everybody loves this, but just have 2 heat races. Have 2 heat races on Friday or Saturday. I would have it on Friday so you've got time to put the car together during Saturday, so you can race on Sunday just in case something happens to it. But have a heat race on Friday, and then have your race on Sunday. That would be the other way I do it, because I think fans get more bang for the buck there. That way you sell a Friday ticket, which is probably going to be a better ticket than the Sunday ticket, in my opinion, as we've seen at the Clash here in the previous years. The qualifying races have been better than the race. BB, I've seen the cars and drivers line up before the Roar. There were about 25 to be announced drivers. Has anyone approached SVG? He's already there. I mean, that would be a good guy to throw in a car. I'm pretty sure if he was going to do something, he's probably got it mapped out. Maybe they just haven't announced it yet. So the other thing is, as the race gets closer, they like to make those announcements to sort of get some hype going. So he might be one that you see. Check out Speak the Truth on YouTube. You might like it. I'll have to check that one out. Let's see. Let me end the poll question here as well, and do the other poll question, because I totally forgot about the other poll question. So apologies as far as that goes. I'm just going to go forward here. No, I'll do it. I'll pick the team. I'm not going to be soft. There we go. As best I can remember, the poll question that was mentioned earlier, Daytona pole winner, will it be coming from HMS? Will it be coming from RFK? Will it be coming from Gibbs? Or will it come from somewhere else? There you go. My money's on RCR and Kyle Busch, but that's just me. So make your votes accordingly, and we will check that before the stream ends here. Let's see. Jones going to get that Michigan win too. I don't know about the Michigan win, but I'll tell you what I do have him winning. I have him winning Darlington, 6 days a week, and twice on Sunday. Write it down. Eric Jones is going to win Darlington this season. I'm making that prediction now. Watching Barrett Jackson live right now. Damn, I wish I was rich, says Bruce Garvey. You and me both, brother. You and me both, man. Sorry, I'm late, says Lovey Barkley. If I was rich, not only would I be buying Barrett Jackson cars, but I would be like live streaming every day, and there would be like 2 or 3 videos because I would go hard on the YouTube channel. Let's see. What's up, Lovey? Good to have you on here. It doesn't matter if you're late or not, my friend. BB, did you watch the video about Ralph Earnhardt I posted on Discord? Great video. The NASCAR man video, somebody sent me that one. I'm not 100% sure. But if it was the NASCAR man video, that was a great video. NASCAR man always does a good job. He doesn't get nearly as many views on a lot of the videos he makes as I think he should get. But yeah, he did a great job there. Number 43, 75 years in racing, a Daytona 500 win would be awesome, says Delmar Coffin. I agree. Bruce Garvey, I watch Barrett Jackson as well. Dylan, part-time driver, maybe. I can see him leading RCR soon. I think when he does finally finish driving, I agree with everybody. He will be the leader over there at RCR. I agree with that 100%. Austin Dillon and Cindric, yeesh, hard-pressed to have a worse season than last year. Yeah, for sure, Shy. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the easiest pick I've ever had to make is for sure. They will both have better seasons because you're 100% right. You can't have, like, they just were so – and, look, you can say what you want to about their skill. I have never seen 2 drivers as unlucky as they were last season. Like, it was unbelievable. Like Dislike says, Mr. Ballin. Mr. Ballin is good. I do watch him. It's very good. YouTube channel if you like the stories of Strange, Dark, and Mysterious. So he's got an interesting story himself. He was doing, like, military-type stories, and then because he was a SEAL, and then he apparently that's not something cool to do. So he stopped doing those stories and started doing these stories, and he's actually more successful doing these stories. So it ended up benefiting him. Another one, the Y Files, WHY Files. That's a really good one. So check out the Y Files. They do. He lays out the whole story, and then he tells you which parts of the story are real or fake or whatever. And he does, like, all the really cool stuff like UFOs, all the conspiracy theories. He jumps into them as far as that goes, and so he's a good one to watch too. Just so many. I watch. I don't know, like a lot of different types of channels. I watch a lot of woodworking channels. Corporal's Corner. Like I don't know if you guys watch any outdoor videos and stuff like that. I watch Corporal's Corner. That's a good one. It's basically about like outdoor camping skills and stuff like that. So he's a really good one to watch too. Heat races would be the way to go, says one wise guy. I agree with you. Just bring back qualifying and practice, says T-Van. I'd be okay with that too. Did you see Kyle Larson was on the Kenny Wallace show and said a lot of the outlaw drivers make more than most of the he said the top 4 probably outlaw drivers make more than most of the NASCAR drivers. So that got a lot of press, but not super shocking because the top 4 World of Outlaw drivers, look at how many races they win. They can win like 5 races in a week. So that's not as shocking to me because to me, as far as like putting in the work, they're putting in way more work than the Cup guy. Like, and I know that sounds crazy, but they are racing 4 or 5 times a week. So they're putting in twice as much work. So I would expect they get paid more than just your average run-of-the-mill NASCAR guy. So those dirt guys, they're just a different breed, man. They would race twice. They would race twice a day, 7 days a week if you let them. So and it's super fun. I'm hoping this year to go out to my first dirt race as an adult. My dad took me to one as a smaller kid, but I don't remember any of it. It's just like I used to say, I've never seen Dale Earnhardt Sr. win. I have seen Dale Earnhardt Sr. win. I saw him win at Darlington. I was just so little I didn't remember it. So until my mom reminded me, and I was like, oh, so I've seen Dale Earnhardt Sr. win. I just don't remember it. I remember being at Darlington. I remember being at that racetrack. I didn't know it was Darlington. I was little, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm hoping to see my first dirt race that I will remember in person this season. Like a lot of little stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll get done this season. BB, do you think Toyota will finally win a super speedway race since they have the new Camry? I do. I think they'll get a super speedway race win this year for sure. Ralph Earnhardt drove for the Petties back in the day, says Denmark Hoffman. Yeah, and he said he got screwed out of 2 wins. I think also Simon Whistler is cool. Check out his channel. The Y-Files is awesome, says Shy. Yeah, the Y-Files, man, that's like a whole nother level. The Scene Vault podcast helped get me back into racing after not paying attention for about a decade. Yeah, so Dirty Death, good point. The Scene Vault podcast is one of the best YouTube channels out there. Like, they're the guys from the Winston Cup Scene magazine, and they just do a phenomenal job at what they do. And it is, especially if you're into old school NASCAR stuff, like, they are a wealth of knowledge because they were there, and they always have on the coolest guests. So if you get a chance, check them out for sure. Say Kyle, the Wi-Files cracks me up. Yeah, that guy AJ's pretty good. Hecklefish, I like old Hecklefish too. Give me thumbs up in the chat if you think I should get a Hecklefish plush animal for the studio back here. Stapleton 42 for sure, says NASCAR guy. I've got a Stapleton 42 shirt, and that's coming up in a upcoming video that I'm working on about the NASCAR museum or the Winston Cup Museum. But yeah, Stapleton always does a good job too. Was the point of the head. Let's see. Abreu drives for Stewart now, says one wise guy. BB haven't said this in a while. But let me say this, or I'm not going to say this. Says in between the lanes. So yeah, we're getting close to Kyle Petty season. So let me say this: we're getting close to Kyle Petty season. BB, do you think NASCAR should have more night races at intermediates? So yeah, to me, I think intermediates should all be night races because it just makes them way more interesting, and it's a better experience for the fans. Because intermediates typically have less overhang to hide from the sun, I guess is what I'm getting at. So yeah, in my opinion, all intermediates should be at nighttime. That's just how I think about it. My uncle ran Outlaws. You'll have a blast, says one wise guy. I'm thinking I'll like it pretty good. BB needs a Hecklefish type mascot. Oh, that's a lot of editing. So that would have to be for special videos. I don't have a team like AJ. AJ's got that set up over there, but that would I don't know. Maybe like a talking bologna sandwich. I've done too much already, so we're gonna end that one right now. No guarantees, no promises, and I'm not even going to attempt it because that's a lot of work. Only dirt tracks I've ever been to is Talladega short tracks, the Hornets Nest in Green Valley Speedway in Gadsden, Alabama. Unfortunately, Green Valley closed about 10 years ago. Oh, that's terrible. I always hate it when so support your local short tracks. Back to Break Cards t-shirt. Yeah, so if you like your local short tracks, definitely support them. So one wise guy, Dustin Walker and Shy, you know about the Wise Files or the Wi-Fi, the Wise Files, the Hecklefish Files, the Wi-Files. But yeah, that's what's up. Absolutely get the Hecklefish. SA Kyle's in on it too. Stuffed talking plushy down toy thing. It says say Kyle Petty will also rock the phrase you know what I mean from time to time. I like Kyle though, he keeps it real 100%. Yeah, so he gets that from his dad. Richard Petty says that like every third word. I don't know if you remember back in the 90s when rappers like every third word be like, you know what I'm saying? Like Richard Petty will say, he'll say, you know what I mean? So Kyle Petty definitely got that honest. Let's see. Let's build a dome over top of Bristol. Oh, that would be cool. An open air dome. Wow. Could you imagine how loud that would be? I'm here for it. Mr. Ballin is VA and learned a lot from that Ralph Earnhardt video. Why Dale was what he was. Yeah, Mr. Ballin, definitely a great channel. And yeah, the Ralph Earnhardt video for sure on NASCAR. I think it's NASCAR Man's channel. Dull, not down, autocorrect. Oh, dude, don't worry about it. Say Kyle, don't worry about it. Autocorrect gets me all the time. I can't spell for nothing. I used to be a decent speller, but then I don't know, auto fix or whatever, spell check or whatever, ruined me from spelling. Basically, the computer age ruined me from spelling. BB, are you more excited to watch the Clash or the Super Bowl? OJ and Toothpaste? That depends on who's in the Super Bowl. If the 49ers are in the Super Bowl, 100%, I'm going to be more excited to watch the Super Bowl. And depending on who's in the actual Super Bowl, I might be more excited to watch the Super Bowl over the Clash. And that's nothing against the Clash. I think NASCAR has done as good a job as you can do with a race like the Clash, but we'll have to see. Let's see. Sacramento, BB, are you a fan of Sports Talk Radio? Says In Between the Lanes. I am a big fan of Sports Talk Radio. The Dan Patrick Show was awesome. I started watching that around late 2009, early 2010, somewhere in there. So the Dan Patrick Show, back when it was on the 101, I watched that daily because they would just have replays of it so you could catch it sort of whenever. But the Dan Patrick Show is the bomb, was the bomb. It's harder to find now because it's on Peacock, I want to say. And it's free on Peacock, but it's just it's not the same for whatever reason. But they do still have the clips on YouTube, so that's super cool. And I'll just be like a total nerd. The first time I ever made a video that got more views than a Dan Patrick clip, like that made my day because I was like, yeah, I made it. Like, but I hadn't. Definitely more people will know Dan Patrick at the end of the day, but definitely a great show. And the whole cast, the Danettes or whatever, they're super cool too. Because I remember I used to talk to them on Twitter all the time, and like Paul Pabst and Seaton, they would actually talk back to you on Twitter, like in a positive way. They would actually engage with fans, so they're definitely cool, cool group. So Dan Patrick Show, big fan of that. Colin Cowherd does a lot of good stuff. Back when he had Joy Taylor on the show, I followed her on either Instagram or Twitter, and she would always like give out like a lot of great advice on some of her clips and stuff like that. So I actually learned a lot of stuff from Joy Taylor on how to do things. Like she would talk about like so like when I make the regular episodes, even though they're only like 10 minutes and Colin Cowherd's doing like a 3-hour show, she talked about he would come in and do like a whole like fake run of his show. And then do his actual show. So that he had one full test run before he did the actual show. So that's one of the things I learned to do when I'm making my shorter videos, without the camera even being on. I'll just run through exactly what I'm going to say, and then I'll. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm a big fan of talk radio. You didn't ask all that, but I gave you all that. So there you go. Colin Cowherd and Dan Patrick, I think, are two of the better ones that do it. And then you've got other people who don't take it as seriously. The Dan Levitards of the world. I just don't feel like he's got such a great position and a platform, and I just don't feel like they take it seriously at all. Like it's crazy. They hardly ever even talk about sports on that one, but I still watch it from time to time trying to learn something. But it's with him and his dad on ESPN had a good TV show. But his radio show, man, like it's if you're not into sports, it's probably interesting. But if you're into sports, like they don't talk about it that much a lot of days. Let's see. I find it crazy. The Cars Tour has more practice time than what the Cup drivers have. Even if you count total practice times, Cars Tour have, but divide that by 36 weekends, and the Cup drivers still have less track time. Yeah, like the Cars Tour does a great job. So if you want to watch a traveling short track type series, the Cars Tour is up there. It's where it's at. BB, how many motorsports do you watch off and on? I watch all of them. Now what am I most knowledgeable about? Probably most knowledgeable, obviously, about NASCAR and pavement asphalt racing. That's the wheelhouse right there, like Busch Series, Xfinity, Cup Series, and asphalt late models. But I watch a little bit of everything, and I try to. I'm not Dave Despain, but I do try to get a little bit of everything. As far as probably, if I didn't grow up around circle track racing, I probably would have deviated toward rally racing. I really, really like rally racing, especially the older times back when it was on the Speed Channel. But yeah, it's all good. I try to watch a little bit of everything. I love IMSA, but I always, after the 24 hours of Daytona, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch every single race this year. And I never do. So I try to watch as much IMSA as I can, especially when they come to VIR. I saw one VIR live event for IMSA, and man, changed my entire life. Like those cars were amazing. They didn't have the prototypes there, which is why I went to Daytona last year. I finally got to see the prototypes in person. But man, like IMSA's where it's at as far as if you're into cars, because they're as close to a stock car as you're going to get in this era. Let's see. Can they stop hating on Brock? He's a second-year player returning to the playoffs back-to-back, coming from a Seahawks fan. Yeah, I don't get the Brock. I don't get the Brock Purdy hate myself. I'm with you on that. there's a lot of quarterbacks I'd take him in front of. That's all I'll say about that. If you like Mr. Ballin, the channel, that chapter is good too, says Say Kyle. I'll have to check that one out. Love some Joy Taylor, says One Wise Guy. Yeah, she's awesome. The Super Bowl hasn't happened yet. If the NFL nowadays, says T-Van. BB, what's better, steak, chicken, or shrimp? I like to put all of them in the hibachi. So if you want what's better, probably flavor-wise, I will go with steak. But when I order the hibachi, I try to get all three in there if I can. Is there anybody you used to hate in NASCAR, but now have completely changed your mind on? Mine was Kyle Petty. Disliked him growing up, probably because of his hair and earrings, but he's one of my favorites now. Yeah, so mine's 100% Jeff Gordon. Like, I had no appreciation for Jeff Gordon because I was a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan, but now I look back and I'm like, man, I truly missed how great Jeff Gordon was because I was being such a little hater. And I didn't even hate Jeff Gordon for most of the time. When Jeff Gordon first came out, I was all excited. I was like, oh, yeah, he's the man. Then he started winning too much. And when he won a championship and basically took that championship away from Earnhardt, I was like, yeah, this guy sucks. We got to get on down the road with Jeff Gordon. So, yeah, I was not a Jeff Gordon fan. But now that I've gotten older and I'm not like, a super fan, I'm just watching the sport and talking about it. A super fan of a driver. I'm still, I guess, technically a super fan of the sport. But, yeah, I missed the entire greatness of Jeff Gordon. And I even remember when they hired Jimmy Johnson, I was like, finally. And it in some ways it became true. And so it just depends on who you ask. I was like, finally, you're about to, because they put, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon's older cars to begin with. Like, finally, you're going to see that was all car with Jeff Gordon because they're going to put Jimmy Johnson in that car and he's going to outrun Jeff Gordon because Jeff Gordon's not that good. I was such a hater, dude. I was such a hater. But ironically enough, Jimmy Johnson got in that car and ran really good. But I still think Jeff Gordon is an all-timer. He's got more wins than Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson has more championships. Hey, BD, driving to work during the stream. I enjoy listening to it. I appreciate you, Camaro 50. However you're listening to it, I super appreciate everyone out there. OJ and Toothpaste, the best is steak, chicken, and shrimp all together. So, Shad, he's on board with it, too. Why restrict yourself? Let's see. I like Clay Travis on Outkick. Recent hilarious rant about Sports Illustrated going belly up. So, yeah, I'm not going to touch that one. But Clay Travis, he's got a good show, too. But it tends to be more political than anything else. So I'm going to leave that one to its own devices. Dan Patrick used to be on the NBC Sports Network. I watched the clips of the show just like along with the Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen's a good one, too. I forgot about him. I should have thought about that one, too. I enjoy Pat McAfee as well. Yeah, Pat McAfee's another good one. I'm surprised he went to ESPN, but I guess they're going to let him do his thing without censoring him too bad. Do you watch tractor pulling? I've been to some tractor pulls. My uncle broke horses, so we went to a lot of rodeos, and a lot of rodeos would have a simultaneous like tractor pull associated with it while they got different livestock in and out. So, yeah, I've been to a few tractor pulls. They're definitely cool. They were just out in South Carolina, I believe. They also would do tractor pulls in between Monster Jam back in the day. Back when Monster Jam actually came to like college football stadiums and stuff. Now they're mostly in like arenas. At least around here, they go to like PNC or RBC or wherever NC State and the Hurricanes play. Let's see. Trucks and Xfinity have live pits, standalone races, but the stage lengths are still shorter than the fuel window. So races are still not going to be great for me because of two fake yellows. Says Chrome Diesel. Yeah. So you've got live pit stops, but you're probably hardly ever going to have to actually watch one. BB, do you know anything about the Little 500 at Anderson Speedway? I've heard the name before, but to say I'm familiar with it, that would not be an accurate thing to say. The bigger thing I know Anderson for, and it might not even be Anderson, but there's one of the South Carolina tracks has the icebreaker, and that's sort of the bigger one that I know him for. Let's see, BB, would you ever step up and meet up at a race like a 24 Hours of Daytona or a NASCAR race? Would you ever set up a meetup? So, yeah, in the future, I'm going to have to figure out a way to do, and I talked with Danny B about it. He gave me a pretty good idea that I might try. But, yeah, we'll set up in the future when I go to races, we'll set up a meetup for sure. Escobar says, I was an Earnhardt fan, hated Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. I think most Earnhardt fans did. The reason I liked Jimmy Johnson was because I bought a hat before I knew Jeff Gordon was his car owner. So I was pot committed. I was like, well, I've got the hat. I'm going to pull for him. And that's just the way it's going to be. So I was pot committed, and I pulled for Jimmy Johnson, even though Jeff Gordon was the car owner. And then, like I said, obviously, I got over the Jeff Gordon thing fairly quickly. Why doesn't Jeff Gordon get credit for having the most wins in the modern era? Because the modern era started in 1972. That's a good question. It could be like some remnants of Earnhardt hate. And also, like, it doesn't really count. But if you do the old point system, Jeff Gordon has 7 titles and 105 wins. So, which, I mean, if like, you can't live in a fantasy world, but it's just an interesting thing to point out. I haven't watched the Herd in a while since McAfee is on ESPN and YouTube at the same time. I could do without the yelling and shouting when it comes to sports talk radio, but that's a me problem. Says in between the lanes. Nope, that's 100% why I watched Dan Patrick. He would always make fun of all the guys that just back then it was like Mike and Mad Dog or whatever, but he would always make fun of the guys that are always like screaming on the radio shows. 100% I'm with you. I like Pat McAfee, but I'll watch the clips of him because I was in college for a long time, so I got my fair share of the frat boy stuff, and I'll leave it at that. But him in small doses is really good because he is really entertaining. I'm just an old man, and I'm over I'm over that part of my life. There was a time, like if I was in my 20s, I would be all about the Pat McAfee show. But I lived that season of my life. I'm on to the next season. That's all I can say about it. So I don't want it to sound like I'm hating. I'm just saying I'm in a different place than to be doing all the screaming and shouting and wearing shirts that the sleeve monster got a hold of. I guess I'll put it that way. I still hate on Gordon and Johnson because I want to, says Shy. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy the sport however you want to enjoy it. I just liked Darrell Waltrip growing up, but liked him as a broadcaster, says Don Walkoff. And a lot of people toward DW's later career, not even just in broadcasting, but just as he matured as a human later in his career, a lot of people started liking DW. Do you have a smoker? Been running a few different Traegers and a Masterbuilt, but now I got a stick burner. Going to try a tri-tip on it. I don't own one, but I've used a lot of smokers, so I'm with you. Nothing there. It's hard to beat a good set of wings on a smoker. So smoked wings are pretty good. What is the best streaming service for dirt racing? Probably Dirt Vision or Flow or Dirt Vision is probably going to be your best bet for dirt racing. Lovey Barkley, BB, what track would you like to see host the championship for the Cup Series? Not one track in particular, but I would like to see the championship rotate around. I think if it rotated around, that would be a really cool deal. That way, one driver wouldn't always have an advantage because there's always going to be one driver that's just like really good at a track. Like, what if Darlington was the last race of the year? Eric Jones and Eric Jones makes the Final Four. Eric Jones is just so good at Darlington, like he would have an obvious advantage there. I appreciate Kurt Busch. He got his ears pinned back, and I finally liked him. LOL. He finally grew in those shoes and became a great guy, says Steve Van. Yeah, so Kurt Busch is definitely a dude that he matured quite a bit from his rookie year and on. Fun fact, on Earth 24, Jeff Gordon is a 24-time champion, says Say Kyle. Oh, no doubt about it. We bought and I put him with Earnhardt on Earth 2. Even on Earth 2, like some people are just so good you can't deny the greatness. Like Jeff Gordon, Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Sr., David Pearson, Jimmy Johnson. You just got to respect the talent of some people. So on Earth 1, 2, or 3, they're just going to be good. We just bought Monster Jam tickets last night, LOL. My son is obsessed with them. I used to love Monster Jam, man. Like I would, I still do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it here because my voice is starting to fail. But I love doing the Monster Jam voice of the commercial guy. Hold on. I'll try it one time. Coming March 24th to the Dorton Arena, it's Monster Jam. Monster Jam. Like, I used to love that as a little kid. That was my favorite thing. You've never seen a human being get so hyped up as when that commercial came on the radio. I used to love that thing, dude. Monster Jam is for sure, the best thing ever for little kids. Jeff Gordon was the first phenom in NASCAR. Everybody that came after him just followed his blueprint. That's fair. That's a fair statement. Richard Squirrel Petty would probably be the other younger driver that you could hang Phenom on, but he came from the Petty family legacy too. So those are probably the two youngest drivers that had immediate success in NASCAR. I hated Jimmy Johnson too until he came to Legacy. MC, diehard 43 fan. I am now pulling for him, says Joshua Jenkins. Such a shame. Jeff Gordon was the biggest loser in the chase/playoff era. 3 great seasons denied for sure. I used to love Petty racing. Now I'm done. I hate Johnson that much. Legacy can kiss my backside, says Shaw. So there you go. There you go. There is always an equal and opposite reaction to when teams move around. I like Mike and Mad Dog. Mike Francesa is the sports pope. Can't go wrong with Francesa. He was good. He was good, but they were both a little bit full of themselves from time to time. Lake Speed, but they got to give credit where credit's due. They completely changed the sports radio game, so they're innovators at the very least, and definite legends. Lake Speed T-Bird was my underdog, says Aaron Flynn. Dan Patrick uses Traeger grills for meat Fridays, and man, he's got such a. If you remember his original setup to the setup he's got now, golly, what a setup he's got right now. I mean, goodness gracious, night and day. I was tempted to bid on the Mecum auction for a race car from the Winston Cup Museum was selling. Was the RCR built car for the LFR series, left-right series. Dale did most of the testing in that car. That would be a super cool one to own. Like, not a lot of people remember the left-right series. Post Oak for smoking, can't go wrong, says Sonny V. DW in the Earnhardt car was the best. That was pretty cool. Jimmy Hensley would do it from time to time too when Earnhardt was hurt. When JJ jumped on the track at Watkins Glen, I was like, go back to off-road racing. You don't have what it takes. I guess I was wrong. Says like this, like, hey, from time to time we're all wrong on our picks here. No sweats, no worries. Adam Carolla is a great list. Oh, he's pretty good. Much different than his former co-host on the Man Show. The dude can rant about anything. Dennis Miller was the GOAT ranter. Oh, dude, Dennis Miller's show back in the day when you knew the good part was coming when he said, "Now I don't mean to get off on a rant here," and then this focus light would focus on him and he would just go off on these epic rants. Like, that dude was pretty funny. Sunday, says Kyle. It's Monster Jam. Yeah, that was so awesome. We will sell you the seat, but you'll only need the edge, says Shaw. There you go. Monster Jam voice, LOL, says Kyle. Yeah, I swear I love the Monster Jam. I do that all the time working with Craig on the late models. He gets a kick out of it too. I do him. I do Dusty Rhodes, and I do Macho Man. But I can't do Macho Man today. That's too big of an ask. But yeah, they all of those Monster Jam, Sunday, One Wise Guy. I still hate that Steve Park got his career cut short. I was a huge Park fan. Is Donnie Allison have the best finish for a driver coming from NASCAR? He finished 4th at Indy. I think you're right. Because Cale Yarborough, I think Cale Yarborough was maybe 6th. So maybe he's tied, or 6th or 8th. I'll have to look it up. I want to say either Cale Yarborough or Donnie Allison holds that record. You're right, Dirty Death. It's one or the other. Then won the World 60 a week later. Oh, yeah, so he did win the race. I'm not sure about if Cale won the race at the World 600. So, yeah. But, yeah, 6th place. I want to say 6th place is the highest a NASCAR guy has ever finished in the Indy 500. So I think he does. He's at least tied for it. WFAN is the radio station where I'm at. Or a 4th, I'm sorry. I got mixed up with the 6th down here. WFAN is the radio station where I'm at. The Fan. Yeah, so it's the Fan where I'm at too. 99.9 The Fan is in Raleigh. I also miss Benson and Skinner, says T-Man. BB, do you think that I don't live in Raleigh, but that's the feed I get. BB, do you think that Red Bull's F1 team is overpowered? I don't think they're overpowered so much as they were chasing Mercedes for so long that Mercedes didn't have to put in the work because Mercedes had figured out the previous formula. But then when the formula changed, Red Bull had set itself up to be so good when the formula changed because of how they operate that now everybody else is going to be playing catch up to Red Bull. And whenever the formula changes again significantly, that's when you'll see like another team rise up So it'll be cool. Let's see. Do you look at the current championships the same as the Winston Cup era? 100% do not. All great accomplishments, but I put more weight on season-long points championships. I do too. That being said, I will never not call somebody that wins the championship in whatever format not a champion, because they all had the same set of rules going in. But that being said, I do weight a full season championship much more heavily than I weight a playoff championship in this particular format 100%. Do the American Dream, brother. Laughing my butt off. Old Dusty Rhodes. So I watched WWE. I can't think of a Dusty Rhodes promo off the top of my head. Let me think about it for a minute. So I watched WWE Raw first time in maybe 20 years. I thought NASCAR was bad for commercials and pointless crap. Says Shaw. So yeah, they talk for a little bit, then they go to commercial for about 5 minutes, and they come back, and you might see a little bit of wrestling. Then you get another commercial. Son of a plumber. WWE is awful now, says Shaw. Terrifying is NASCAR is trying to be WWE without the playoffs. And so, like, I can't do the one I do as Dusty Rhodes. It's me making fun of some other people in the short track late model deal. So I can't do it because I'm not trying to put that out there. But it's not making fun of them, like being mean or anything, but I'm not trying to put that out there because you guys know how the internet works and it's going to cause beef. So it's just one of those deals. But it's basically there's a guy that gets wrecked, and then I come over as the other guy, and the other guy has Dusty Rhodes' voice, and he's talking junk. So I can't do it because that's the only one off the top of my head. So I'm not going to do it today because it's just stuck in my head, and I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just going to keep it real. Royal Rumble this weekend. Royal Rumble is always a good one. I always forget that the Royal Rumble happens always right around the Super Bowl. Terrifying is NASCAR is trying to be WWE with the playoffs. A lot of people feel that way. Sports entertainment, that was the big thing back in the day when whoever said that. So who caused the wreck in the 79 500? Donnie or Kale? Kale 100% caused that wreck. But that being said, Kale was the man. Does not even show a whole match without a commercial. That's a fact. Gunther is decent. Shaw says one wise guy. BB, what do you think Ray will eventually do with IROC down the road? Will he bring it back to its former glory? Well, the first thing he needs to do, since Ford is the only one that's still going to be making V8s, he needs to go have a conversation with Ford. And the Ford Mustang, it's time. It's time for an IROC Mustang. So IROC Dark Horse Mustang is the first thing that needs to happen. And then, hopefully from there, he can return it to its former glory. Because without a strong and I think this is what bit the SRX, without a strong manufacturer presence, it's going to be super hard to pull off. Raw was 3 hours, and I swear there was maybe 35 minutes of wrestling. Says Shy. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Sort of toward the end of the Monday Night Wars. That's what WC turned into. They talked for most of it, and there was maybe 3 matches. Last week I had the buffalo chicken cheesesteak on rosemary parm from Jersey Mike's, and it was pretty good. It is pretty good. I do like that one as well. I kid you not, I was more excited about the Indianapolis Road Course than the championship in 2023. And I hate the Indy Road Course, says Lovey Barkley. Moral of the story is that the playoffs suck. So there you go. Lovey echoing what a lot of people feel, that the playoff format as it stands right now, just not good. What do you think of the Bills missing that kick? I feel bad for every Buffalo Bills fan that was alive in the 90s and had to endure all those 90s losses, at least 2 of them from the same particular situation. Now, the other losses were blowouts, so it is what it is. Dusty was a huge Earnhardt fan, said he was a showman, and that's why he loved to watch him. Says one wise guy. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I put a Blippy outfit. I put on a Blippy outfit to watch Monster Jam with my great grandson. Says Brickyard Brickhead. Hey, you're the man, dude. Dude, little kids love Blippy. Like, that's so crazy. OG Blippy too. Like, it has to be OG. At least my buddy's son. It has to be OG Blippy. He doesn't like the new Blippy. It has to be old Blippy. Let's see. I think IROC will need a need a manufacturer, not a weird car. I'm with you, Escobar, and I think it should be the Mustang, since the Mustang is the only V8 car. Or they can do a sports car, like they've done the Porsche before. Like go overseas and get a sports car from over there. Super Speedway racing equals Royal Rumble, says like this. Like, hey, that's a pretty good analogy there. LOL, says shots you like. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I find certain sports announcers annoying. The receiver needs to make the catch, or that pass could have been intercepted. My response, no kidding. Yeah, so that's one thing that radio, like if you're going to call a game like that, you need to be on radio. If you're going to call a game on TV, you need to realize that the fans are not idiots and they're watching the same game you're watching, and you don't need to tell them what just happened because they saw it. You need to commentate on what was significant about the play that just happened. It's a totally different way of going about your business. Radio, you got to explain what's going on because they can't see it. TV, you don't need to explain what's going on. You need to explain why what just happened is important. So it's definitely a different distinction for sure. Let's see. The NWO got me back into wrestling in the 90s, says Escobar. Oh, for sure. Like it pretty much it revived wrestling and raised it to a higher level than it had ever been before. After a while, Dodge should have got behind SRX, says Delmar Kaufman. I agree. It was a perfect fit for the Charger or the Challenger. Watch the Rumble Saturday, Shaw. Catch AEW on Wednesday. It's more like older wrestling. Yeah, so a lot of people that like the older style of wrestling do like AEW. I have noticed that. Okay, we'll do. Royal Rumble does have me interested. I get it. That's what the analyst needs to say, since that's part of his job on the broadcast. Nope, you're 100% right in between the lanes. He does not need to say it because you have a TV and you saw it. He needs to comment on why it was important. So don't ever backtrack. Hold them to the fire. They need to learn how to announce on TV, and they need to realize that they're not on radio. Don't tell me what just happened. I've got eyes. I just saw it. Tell me why what's happening is important. The only time you would talk about something that happened is when the camera didn't show it. So, for instance, in racing, if there's a great battle in the back of the pack, be like, oh, in the back of the pack, this and this and this is going on. And the reason you do that is because you're telling the cameraman, hey, go find the 77 and the 37. They're having a heck of a race. We need to go look at that. So that's the only situation where you would describe like exactly what's happening. And because in that situation, you wouldn't actually be seeing it. Or in the case of your football analogy, if somebody was holding and that was off camera, be like, yeah, like you'll see him say that from time to time. That's coming back because you couldn't see it on camera, but number 37 was holding 88 right there off camera. So there are certain situations where you explain it, but they're very rare. Let's see. I get it. That's what the I just read that one. Let's see. I have not seen a Rumble in decades. 1992 Royal Rumble. That was a good one. BB, have you ever taken Flexerol? I have not taken Flexerol, OJ, and toothpaste. We're not quite to who was that? Joe Namath? Was that Joe Namath with Flexerol? Let's see. Wrestling in the 90s was crazy. I never cared at all for wrestling, but I still had a Stone Cold shirt. Hey, Austin 316, man. That shirt's universal. So I wasn't the only loser in school without a shirt. LOL, says Kyle. I had the Austin 316. I had the red NWO with the wolf on the back of it. I had the white NWO with the 6-ball on the back of it. What other one do I have? I've got like a couple. I bought some later ones when I got older, but when it was actually happening, those are the ones I had. I got a couple of Macho Man and Ric Flair shirts now, though, somewhere around here. I think I'm fixing to do it. So if you're on eBay, get ready because there's about to be a T-shirt overhaul. A lot of T-shirts are getting thrown up on eBay or in the trash. I think IROC needs to make I think IROC needs a different make of car to step in, like Genesis, Hyundai, or Kia, says Escobar. Hey, I mean, anything, as long as it's a manufacturer-backed deal, it would 100% work, because I think that's honestly what ended up biting the one of the things that ended up biting the SRX. Moving to Thursdays, I don't think helped him either. Richard Petty had to wait until he was 18 to race, while Gordon started at 5. Look how many kids start out that way now. But nobody did when Gordon did, for sure. So Gordon's stepdad was living vicariously through Jeff Gordon, which is also part of the reason why Jeff Gordon retired as early as he did, in my opinion. If I ever talk to him, I'll ask him that straight up. That'll be like the first and only question I get in. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, Jeff Gordon. Did you retire early because your stepdad made you race when you were the age of 5? That would go over well, and he would appreciate it. Anyway, Billy Corgan bought Corgan bought the NWA wrestling organization and is working to bring the territories back. Great for wrestling. Depends on the sport as well. Says in between the lanes for sure. NASCAR needs a competition with someone like WWE had with the other Turner broadcast. Forget the name. Yeah, I mean it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt at all. You even see that with certain sports. You'll see 2 or 3 different broadcasts going on at the same time. I know Monday Night Football is like that. So maybe NASCAR with their new media center can get into something like that. Went to K1 Speedway yesterday and loved the racing against the track. I appreciate the driver aspect. Why it's fun fighting against the track. People don't realize it. All they think is let's group them up with stages, says Chrome Diesel. That's a fact, man. Once you get in a race car and drive it, your perspective of what's going on the track completely changes than before you ever drove a race car and were just watching as a fan. And that's just the best way to explain it. There are times where and people talk crap to me all the time. There are times when I'm watching a battle for 20 seconds and people are like, why are you watching that? That battle doesn't matter. It's not for the lead. And I'll be like, because I'm watching this dude driving this car racing for 20 seconds, and that car should probably be in 30th place. And if you put that guy in a Hendrick car or something like that, he'd be smoking the field right now. So it's just interesting little stuff like that. And that's why I try to tell people all the time, like, I love going to the racetrack because I can watch what I want to watch. I don't have to watch the 5 leaders at the front for the entire race. So that's my 2 cents on that. Monday Night Football is so much fun and informative with Peyton and Eli Manning, says Brickyard Brickhead. 100%. And we've reached an era, right? We've got all these channels, we've got streaming and all that. There's no way that sports of all levels shouldn't have that type of choice or option for the fans, in my opinion. NWA is too sweet, says one wise guy, and save a save that should have been made by the goaltender, hockey and soccer, says in between the lanes. I had the original Hulk Hogan t-shirt, says T-Van. I never had a Hulk Hogan t-shirt, although he was my favorite wrestler as a kid until the Ultimate Warrior came out. Who out of the full-timer NASCAR drivers, and then I became a Big Boss Man fan randomly. So it was like Big Boss Man and Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. Who out of the full-time NASCAR drivers who needs to run the 2025 Rolex 24? I mean, Austin Cindric should always be in the Rolex 24, in my opinion, because he's just that good in a sports car. So he would be, and then all the Shane Van Gisbergen should be in there. AJ Allmendinger should be in there. Like all those type of guys should be in there. I should have caught the fly ball of baseball. So don't get me started about baseball. They just get like baseball does. They take what I was talking about too far. Like they were like, oh, that play right there was crazy. That reminds me of 1920. Like we all remember 1920, and we've seen that 1920s footage. That reminds me of 1920 when Honus Wagner was out there. Like, come on, dude. Like, make it a little bit more relevant. Can we talk about a dude from the 90s? We don't need to talk about a dude from the 1920s. Baseball is so much better in person than watching it on TV because the announcers for a lot of baseball games ruin it. Anyway, rant over. Kyle Petty's NWO Busch car was awesome, says Delmar Kaufman. So, yeah, fun fact, Deke McCaskill on the late model, like the Cars Tour has a throwback late model deal. He did the Kyle Petty NWO car as his throwback. Old Deke McCaskill, man, always getting done. One of the cleanest race car drivers you'll ever see, and he's a good dude for sure. Let's see, BB, do you think NASCAR shows too many commercials? I think so many. I've noticed on that Fox, they go to commercial every 10 laps, says Lovey Barkley. I mean, that's not even a question. Like, yeah, like that was like one of the biggest talking points last year. Yeah, I think not only NASCAR, but I think just because we're so used to streaming services and stuff like that, even if there are less commercials now, it feels like more commercials just because of what we're used to. With WCW, someone help me. WCW says Shah. I enjoy the Manning cast. Yeah, the Manning cast is good. We need something like that in NASCAR. Like maybe get when Kyle Busch retires, maybe get the Busch brothers talking about it or something like that. Like I would love something like that. So Wise Guy just dropped the Discord down there. If you want to check out the Discord, it would be much appreciated. We have a good time on there. USAC should get back into stock car racing. I mean, somebody needs to put some pressure on NASCAR. So we'll see. Let's see. One wise guy thinks my poor old brain says Shy. Will you watch the Rolex 24 this weekend? Says Chrome Diesel. I'm going to watch as much of it as I can. And this time I don't have to worry about somebody intentionally waking me up by slamming the door and looking directly in my eyes when I'm taking a nap. So that was such a dick move on that guy's part. Anyway, WWE Raw going to Netflix is a game changer for streaming. That show's been on USA Network since 1992. I agree. Like I said, there's going to be a weird in-between period where people are irritated, but eventually I feel like streaming is going to take a good portion of what used to be on cable. Let's see. Shy, get on the Discord. I'll set you up with good stuff to watch, says one wise guy. Yeah, so in the Discord, we talk about like all the random stuff we get on Wild Tangents talking about here. That's pretty much what we talk about in Discord most of the time. Man, it sucks that neither SVG, the Dinger, or Cindric are going in it this year. Yeah, that's I agree with you, Hordox. That's 100%. I can't believe, and I understand why. Like they got to race. They don't have to. They choose to because it's an exhibition race. But they choose to race in LA. Whereas if I'm a driver, I feel like the 24-hour. I would rather. Here's what all I'm saying about this. I would rather have a 24 hours trophy than a clash at the Coliseum or wherever they're going to have the clash. Even if it was at Daytona, I would rather have the 24 hours trophy, even if it's third place podium, than winning the clash. That's just my thoughts on it. But it is what it is. They feel obligated. They're sponsors. It's not as cut and dry as I made it there. They have to go. They have to go race at the clash. That's a big ask to go from LA all the way back to and the time difference too, and all the way back over to Daytona. It makes for a rough week, especially to start the season. You don't want to start the NASCAR season already kind of wore out. So I understand it. I was a big Chief Wahoo McDaniels and the Boogie Woogie. Oh, the Boogie Woogie man. I forgot about him, dude. Joshua Jenkins taking it old school. Let's see. Shy said, Discord. I can't wait to see what SVG will do this year, says T-Van. I think he's going to have a good season. Gus Johnson is a good commentator. Yeah, Gus Johnson's one of the best, man. He can get you hyped at the right moment, and he's got some crazy good calls too. He just says he puts words together that are just really unique to Gus Johnson. One wise guy says agreed. SVG seems humble. SVG is humble, but what a lot of people don't realize is SVG is super aggressive. He is going to hit. He's going to fit in at Trackhouse because he's going to hit some bumpers. I guess a lot of people are not familiar with what he did in the Australian V8 Supercar Series, but him and Scott McLaughlin, they would lean on each other quite a bit. So he's not afraid to use the bumper, and that's going to probably catch some people by surprise. I would imagine that are on his train right now. They're going to see that he's not a dirty driver, but he's not afraid to use the bumper. So it's going to be interesting to see how people that really like super clean race car drivers take that. Going to be interesting now seeing Jordan Taylor in a Corvette since he is in an Acura with Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Global. Yeah, that is interesting for sure. Of course, his other brother, he's been driving Acuras for a while anyway. I watched the 30 for 30, the Four Falls of Buffalo. It's hard not to like a city. Completely embrace Scott Norwood after missing that kick. Yeah, for sure, man. Like that's a good point. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'll have to check it out. But you do make a good point. They instead of like a lot of cities, you become a pariah if you miss a field goal or something like that. Buffalo's not like that, man. They're all in with their team, and they're ride or die, man. If you play for them, you're always going to be a Bill. So it's one of the better, to me, like it's one of the better cities to play in. I know there's cold weather and you got to deal with that, but man, I'll tell you what, if I was ever like a free agent, if I ever could play, if I was skilled as an athlete and was playing football or whatever, Buffalo would have to be high on my list. Like I tell you what, it's hard to find a better atmosphere than that, in my opinion. Jim Nance is another good commentator. Oh yeah, for sure. Jim Nance, the only person that can make the Masters seem like super interesting to people that don't care anything about golf. A tradition like none other, the Masters. Old Jim Nance. Why does everybody have a problem with Kyle Busch going back down to the lower series? I don't know, man. A lot of people don't like it though. Especially now that it's only 5 races apiece he can go down there for. I don't know. It was different back in the day when Kevin Harvick went down there and won the championship and was driving in the Cup Series. I can understand the argument there, but now that it's limited to 5 races, I really don't have a problem with any type of bushwhacking or anything like that. Let's see. There is a poll question up. Who do you think will win the poll for the Daytona 500? Will it come from the HMS camp, RFK, Joe Gibbs, or other? 34% say other, 12% Gibbs, 14% RFK, 40% HMS. So get those votes in if you haven't already. So I am discorded. Not sure how I feel about this. Never joined Twitter because why would I want to be a twit? Says Shy. Look, Discord's totally different. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's polar opposite from Twitter. You don't have to worry. It's just a small group of people who are hanging out talking about the stuff we're interested in, which is just basically comes from the live stream. You should see Jordan at the Chicago Street Race, I imagine. Yeah, you would imagine he would be there this year. And like I said, they need to have like a Jordan shoe drop. They need to really make that event special, especially for like 20. And you've got Tyler Reddick there. Tyler Reddick's one of the better road course racers there is. So they're just like I always root for Rowdy Bush anytime he goes down to Xfinity or trucks, says in between the lanes. I do too. I won a lot of money on Kyle Busch back in the day from my friends that hated him. I said, I will give you the whole field in this truck race. I will take Kyle Busch. And they took that bet more times than I care to tell you. And guess who won probably 90% of those bets? This guy. Because Kyle Busch in a truck is hard to beat. BB, if you owned a NASCAR team, what 4 drivers would you have on your team? Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson. The other ones are going to be hard. I like Ross Chastain and William Byron. So like, and you can flame me, but this just off the top of my head, I like them. Like Tyler Reddick, I would put in that conversation. I would put Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin in there, but if I owned a team, I wouldn't want to start out with guys who I know are going to retire in a few years. So that's why I left them off. And I feel like Kyle Busch will race until he's like 60 if they'll let him. So that like you can't make that same argument for him. Eric Jones, I'm big on Eric Jones. Like I would have to put Eric Jones in that conversation too. Christopher Bell, C. Bell, the dude that always gets overlooked, C. Bell. So when Kyle Busch retires, C. Bell will slide into Kyle Busch's spot there. But yeah, there's you can make an argument for a lot of people, but those would be my 4 off the top of my head. I would have to go look at numbers for like an official list, but that's sort of my good question, Sonny. Good question, Lovey. Sonny V. KC used to be a good atmosphere. Yeah. I remember back in the day, Kansas City was one of the places you wanted to play at too. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson here. Could NASCAR be pressuring the drivers to do the clash? I don't know if it's NASCAR so much as the teams get a sponsor lined up, and you have to have that driver in there for that sponsor to be there. So it's probably a tit for tat from both ends. With Rowdy Energy, obviously NASCAR wants you to show up. So, yes, there's definitely some pressure from NASCAR. With Rowdy Energy shut down, will Busch look into getting a soft drink sponsor back with NOS or someone else? That's a tricky question. I don't know, Chrome. He's got the whiskey sponsor. So, usually when you have a whiskey sponsor, it's going to be really hard for a soda or something like that. A lot of times sodas want to keep a clean image, so they don't want to be associated with whiskey. So you run into little small stuff like that. Candyman, Coca-Cola, ironically enough, has not backed away from stuff like that because Austin Dillon's a Coca-Cola driver, obviously, and Coca-Cola has had Jack and Coke as a pre-mixed deal. So and Austin Dillon ran that Jack Daniels car back in the day. So Coca-Cola might be an option. If a soda was looking at Kyle Busch. I'm old and still trying to figure out Discord, says T-Van. Look, it's not intuitive just yet. So I will not say it's easy to navigate, but it is fun. It's not hard to navigate either. It's just different. Let's see. What's your honest expectations for Josh Berry? He'll probably finish top 20 in points, and he'll get some good solid. I don't know if he gets a win. He's definitely capable. If he gets a win, I think it'll be on a short track. But he's definitely capable. I would say probably 8 to 10 top 10s and a top 20 finish in points. BB Kyle Busch should get a squirt soda sponsorship, says OJ and Toothpaste. BB, will Taylor Swift Super Bowl be annoying? Probably. Shaw said squirt. That's what she said. Billy Madison likes to drink soda. Or rolling on the floor laughing my butt off, says Shaw. I'd love to see Garage 56 in the Daytona 24. That would be cool. That would be cool. I agree. Shaw says he's going to get in trouble with EB. I'm rooting for Barry, but Stewart Haas needs to improve. Kyle should get Four Loko. I see he can't get Four Loko because he's already got Rebel whiskey, so he definitely won't have two alcohols. Best of both worlds, alcohol and caffeine. Yeah, the old Four Locos were serious. They were serious business back in the day. All right, looks like we have one more, and we have reached the end of the chat. I can see Barry getting a top 3 at the Monster Mile, if not first. Yeah, he is good. He is good there. Let's see. All right, looks like we've reached the end of the chat here, so I'm going to call it a night. You guys have a good one, and I will catch you next Tuesday. And then, of course, as the season comes in, Sunday, we will have the pre- and post races coming back fairly soon. But until next time, peace.